Alright, so I guess I'll start with vehicles. The first thing you're going to discover if you try to live off the grid is that you need a lot of vehicles, because usually you're going to be in a place where you're far enough away from everything that having vehicles, extra vehicles, when one of them breaks down is important. Now, if you're maybe a wealthier person or just don't care about your own financial security, you could just buy a new car and have a bunch of debt. Or maybe you have enough cash to do that. Not going to judge, but this is how I do it. I like to be able to repair my vehicles. I don't have the best assortment. Well, this car right here is probably the hardest one to repair. But those two over there, they're pretty easy to fix when something goes wrong. And I have a lot of tools packed in, and whatever I need, I've got it. Let's see, we've got some chairs outside, of course, because being comfy outside is always nice. We've got my generator over here. So since this is a camper, it has its own electrical box, which includes a AC to DC charging circuit. So it'll charge from 12 volts. Bugs are eating me today. So that cable is actually the shore power cable that would normally go to like a campground power, or if you were sitting in someone's driveway, that would plug in there. I just have it plugged into the generator, and I just leave the breakers switched off 90% of the time, because honestly I barely use that thing unless I need extra power, which is very rare. That brings us to the next little bit. So these are my solar panels, 610 watts to 305 watt panels to be exact. They're just haphazardly wired into the charge controller, which is actually in this compartment over here, and said charge controller is wired into the batteries, which are in that compartment. I have two Trojan T105s, I think they are. They're pretty good batteries. I like them. I need to upgrade to more batteries, but I also need to build like an external battery box so I can put them in there. Because I would love to have a little bit more reserve power, but this is done pretty well for me. I can hardly kill this even when I sit there all night watching shows and whatnot. Working on the computer all night. Because I work from home. I tend to sit there all night. Sometimes, stay up until midnight working, because I just am weird like that. So I don't tend to have issues with that with this system. We have the inverter is also just smushed up in that same area, because that was just the easiest place to put it. You want short inverter cables, so I just did really short ones, and I just smushed it in next to the batteries. Maybe not the safest way to do it, but it's worked pretty well for me so far. I've been doing this for a while. Here's some extension cords that are coming out of the inverter. Obviously this one's way too long, but they both go in through that compartment, and then they come in through a vent, and you can see I have a lot of duct tape because the mice tend to like to climb up those and into the trailer. So they go in through what used to be one of the furnace vents. So the furnace does not work in this camper, and I just took advantage of that and basically just removed one of those vents and put all my extension cords through there. And I have it taped up, and I have stuff stuffed in there as well. Another important detail of that, by the way, whenever you run the cable through the side of a camper, always good to put some steel wool in there, because it helps prevent the mice from actually climbing in, something I've learned. As far as gray water, well, we've got this pipe. Now, I'm going to leave that up to your discretion, what you want to do with your gray water, but this one I have a tank that I can dump into, and I can take it to the local RV dump place. And then also I've kind of been thinking that maybe just like a planter built right off of here would be perfect. I kind of need to build some kind of skirting anyways for the winter. So I was kind of thinking that if I just built like a little planter that came right off of this pipe, and I don't do anything with black water. I've left things as is in there, or sorry, black water, not sink water, but black water like poop and stuff. That's closed off. I don't use the toilet. The kitchen sink, I think we could dispose of with a planter of some kind, and a slow trickle kind of black water disposal system. I want to look into that more. I'm thinking about maybe even just building a small septic system and hooking it up to that, you know, like a really small septic system. I'd like to get everything permitted out here, so I just haven't taken any action on that yet. But for temporary, you could probably just take that stuff, dump it into like a tank like that rolls, and then just you know, haul it up in your pickup truck with maybe a ramp or something, and there you go. Take it to the RV dump station. You know, honestly, you're not gonna need to do that super often. There's a pretty big tank in these things, and it's pretty easy to deal with. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I'm not feeling too hot today, so if I seem a little bit out of it, that's why. A little bit burnt out. Been kind of going at work and at home, and so the back jacks on this trailer, it's not pushing on the bumper, but the back jacks on this trailer don't work. They're actually like twisted. I caught them on an arroyo heading up out of the last place that I lived, and I bent the crap out of them, so I'm just using this temporarily. It just kind of keeps it level. It doesn't do anything to stabilize it really, it just keeps it more level. So I don't have like a slope in there, which honestly, the ground here is pretty level to begin with, so doing so is not that difficult. All right, let's see, what else have we got? So we went over the generator. Water containers. Well, for now, I've got these. And I've got a membership at the bulk fill station for when I do get a water tank, like a big IBC tote. And that's what this truck is for, is actually to haul those IBC totes. I just want to get some food grade ones so I can actually drink out of it and, you know, start from a fresh tank and not one that might have had some dangerous chemicals in it or something. So that's how I do water for now. I either buy it, or I use a spigot, or I use my bulk fill card, whatever. It's easy to deal with water. You just have to be mindful and conservative of it. You know, don't waste water. I left this open by accident. Hopefully no mice climbed in there. Mice just love everything about this camper. That's one big issue with living in an RV or camper. And so this is the fill spot. So I literally just manually fill that. It's not that big of a deal. I'd like to get a pump or something to pump water into that, but for now I just manually fill it. Over here we have our propane. So it's just a propane tank in there. I've got some crap in the bottom of there just to sort of raise up the level of the tank a little bit, because it just barely reaches. It's meant for a bigger tank, but I've improvised that. I do have the bigger tank here, but it's empty. And the problem with filling those bigger tanks, you'll find out, is that you have to actually go when those places are open, the propane places, and they have weird hours. I think almost everyone in every town has weird hours. So, you know, I work pretty consistently during the week, and then they're only open during the week, it seems like. So that's a challenge. All right, coming in here, let me just, any of you who are offended by meat eating, that's just too bad for you. I just wasted a piece of meat. Have to give that to Rusty in a minute. So any water, including like extra coffee and crap, goes in there, and I deal with it later. I don't like to go through the drain system if I can help it, just because, you know, it creates another hassle for me. But that's how I do that for now. You see I have a lot of dirty dishes, a succulent, cleaning supplies up there, knives. I cook pretty standard meals. Something that I really like is this pour-over coffee maker. It was about 20 bucks at Walmart. So you take this, you fill it up with coffee, you put it in there, and then you just pour boiling water over it with a kettle, and here's the kettle. It's easier than when you're off-grid, because those Mr. Coffee makers, they use a lot of power, actually, and so it can be a challenge to, you know, use one of those when you don't have electricity, or you don't have a lot of electricity. I do have running water, of course, because of the pump. It's really loud. I need to insulate the pipes so they don't rattle and make as much noise, but there it is. We've got hot water. If I just flip this little switch down here, it'll light up and heat up some water for me so I can take hot showers. Microwave is a cabinet. We don't use the microwave here. I just use it for stuff that I want to kind of keep, that's not sealed on its own. And so far, honestly, ever since I set all these mouse traps and caught kind of the first round of mice, I haven't really had an issue with mice anymore. but it's something to be, aware of. If you have stuff that doesn't seal on its own, you want to kind of keep it out of reach of rodents and pests, especially when you live out in the middle of nowhere. See, we've got some dishes. I've got some disposable dishes for when guests come over. I don't like to use that kind of stuff because it actually uses, environmentally speaking, like these paper plates use a lot of water to manufacture, so I don't like to use those if I can help it. Let's see, what else have we got? We've got a dog, of course. Trash can is over here. Cat. Cat is important. Cat eats mice. And dog is important because dog alerts to intruders. And out here there's, the cops would come, but they're pretty slow. Let's see. I've got a stereo that doesn't work. What I ended up doing actually is bypassing that and wiring in a cheap Bluetooth head unit. And that's for these speakers. I've got these overhead speakers in here that let me have music. And then also, so that laptop has Bluetooth, so I can actually connect the laptop to the overhead speakers if I want to watch stuff. And that's just a computer monitor there. It's like a 27-inch computer monitor, but it's pretty big for in here. Like when you're watching stuff at night, it's pretty immersive because this is such a small space that it does really well. Let's see. That's all storage back there. This is actually a king-size bed. I had to remove, there was a frame under here. It was meant for like a full-size bed. I just removed that frame and fit in the king-size bed however I could. It barely fits. Leaves me a lot of storage around the edges, but yeah. Let's see. Again, this works. Let's talk about the bathroom situation. So I don't use that toilet at all. That's pretty much just I set stuff on it if I'm taking a dump or something. Here's my actual toilet. I'm not going to open it up. This is dirt, not poop, I promise. It's just dirt gets on it sometimes, if I like take it outside to dump it. And you just, I have some bins out there that I dump this stuff in. This is composting toilet. This bucket up here has the actual material, the sawdust that I use for the composting toilet. And then this bucket is just a spare bucket. I tend to have towels in it. I just unstack these and take a dump and then stack them back up. It works pretty well. It doesn't stink or anything. This I could actually take regular showers. This is one of the few cases where I actually put water into the come on, focus. 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 My camera is not wanting, there we go. This is one of the few cases where I actually put water into the gray water system. Let's see, we've got a swamp cooler here. This is super nice to have. It's just a Home Depot evaporative cooler, whatever. It's super nice. You just manually fill it. It has a little tank that you pull out and you fill it. That works really well on the days when it's actually hot enough. I rarely use it. It's about 80 degrees today and it's just not hot enough. With it being so dry and then 80 degrees, it's just not hot enough to be worried about it. Here's the spot. So if you look over here, this is that spot where the extension cords come in. So we've got one going up to the bedroom for the laptop and stuff. And then we've got the one coming over here for the swamp cooler, all my charging, basically all my electricity in here. If I want to set my laptop up, I plug it into this power strip down here. Everything plugs in here. So, yeah, overall, that is basically my whole setup. I should also probably mention this is a 4G LTE router. I'm not going to cover here how I got unlimited 4G service, but it can be done. Truly unlimited. So I can watch stuff, I can download stuff, doesn't matter, I'm not going to run out of data, and I'm not going to experience that 4G to 3G or 2G speed throttling. So that's how I do that. Weird placement for the cat litter box. It's actually way up here. This is, I think, where a TV used to go. I just have the litter box up there because it's just the only place where it's out of the way, and it's just not, not obtrusive. It doesn't stink. I actually have to remember to change it because I can't smell it when it's up there. It's just up in a corner by itself. And my cat can get up here and climb into it, and I think he likes it because he's totally protected from the dog and everything. Oh, sage monkey. Gotta turn the meat. It's gonna burn on me. This is a lot of meat to burn. So overall, That's pretty much it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to show off here. And then for drinking water, I tend to not use the built-in tanks, because you never know, like if something crawls in them and dies or whatever, you don't want to deal with that. So instead of trying to purify the water coming out of the tanks, and I've thought about buying like an inline filter, because I actually have like a on the faucet filter, and I tried to unscrew this. It's just a piece of plastic that's like glued on there, so you can't unscrew it. And screw on like a regular filter, and it's not the right size anyway, so I really shouldn't have even tried. But this is where I get my drinking water. Pretty much, if you know, it's good to just have one clean drinking water tank at least. And in fact, that's why I have all those 5-gallon containers, because those kind of let me, you know, have a place to put clean drinking water, and then I can kind of decide where it's going to go, if it's going to go into the RV tank or the regular tank, or I mean this guy. I also have this, which I need to charge. This lets you pump out of those without flipping them over and having them be upside down and gravity fed. This lets you pump out of the little round 5-gallon containers. So that's an alternative. It's just a little pump, and it connects to power, and it has a little hose that you connect up to it. So that's a good option, alternative. I think those are about 30 bucks. I don't condone Walmart, but that's another thing you can get for about 30 bucks at Walmart. This is a camp shower. I don't know if I can actually pull it out of here. Oh yeah. There it is. So, and then down in that box somewhere is the other part of it. Basically, it's just a submersible pump that you put into a 5-gallon bucket, and it'll pump water for you using 12 volt. So that's another option. If I want to take like an outside shower or something, I can just hook that up to a vehicle, and away I go with my shower. So that's kind of everything. It's a lot of just objects that make life easier, because the truth is, I think a lot of people have this mistaken idea that living this way is like some kind of magical thing that's impossible for them to do. But the truth is, all you need is to just figure out what you want to have, like luxury-wise, and then make that freaking biting horseflies, make that happen. You know, like, if you want a shower, figure out how to make a shower happen. Figure out what the pieces of a shower are, put that together. If you want to cook, figure out how to put that together. You know, I used to live with a camp stove and that camping shower, or even just one of those jugs, and I would just put it up on something up high and just dump water onto myself. I mean, there's always a way to do it. You know, if you want coffee, figure out what you've got available to you. I've got a kettle, and make you know, pour over coffee, or you can also do like a percolator. That'll work too. So, you know, you can have everything that you want: electricity, solar, wind, you know, even a generator if you want to spend a bunch of money on gas all the time. You know, you can make it happen. You just have to believe that you can, and, you know, sit there and just write down what all the pieces are, and then put them together for yourself. So that's been my little tour of my current off-grid setup. I don't want to talk about land right now. I don't want to talk about, you know, how I got internet. That could all be future videos, but this is what I've got for now. Hope you enjoyed it. I might make this remake this video with someone filming it for me. But for now, thanks for watching, and have a great day.